Hey there, Goa fans. This is Mark DJ Solitaire here with episode 150 of Retro Goa Explorations, my weekly series in which I share in each episode one of my favorite tracks from the 1990s Goa Trance psychedelic dance movement. Okay, so for episode 150, a project that I haven't featured in a while, and which, a track that I'd actually forgotten about, and which has a little bit more meaning in a sense because A, some video of the most formative DJ in my life playing it in the 90s has shown up, and B, I found out from one of the producers this was their last track. And this is one of the projects that remains legendary, that remains one of the beloved, formative projects of the scene. So I figured this was an important one to feature. And it fits within the timeline. We're looking at tracks that came out now in the late 98 through to the summer of 99 season. And this one was clearly around, circulating a little bit before its release in September 1998. This one came out on Flying Rhino, was their 23rd single, and both on CD and on vinyl. It was number 23, and this was Green Nuns of the Revolution. Just the Green Nuns in large friendly letters, followed by of the Revolution in smaller ones, and Green Nunions, which of course is brilliant because if you say it quickly, sounds like green onions, which is if you're eating your healthy vegetables, you can get some of those on your plate. And the reason this came to mind recently is because some film footage of Ollie playing this track at Antares showed up. Now, the original date given on the video was 1996, but given the space stripe shirt that he was wearing and the decorations that I saw in the video, I knew that string decor was done by Avical, brilliant Sardinian string artist, and he had done similar structures in Japan in the summer of 98. So I thought, it could have been 97, but 96 would have been too far ahead, and including for the music. I figured sometimes a track is, available a year before it's released. So did a little digging. Avical confirmed that this was done in 98 and chatted with Dick Trevor of the Green Nuns. And yes, indeed, this was their last track and came out in 1998. So I should add that at this point, the Green Nuns featured three members, Dick Trevor, Matt Caldrick, and also Neil Cowley, who I never met at the time. And having seen Green Nuns only once live in that era, it returned to the Source in New York, where I saw just Matt and Dick bouncing around on stage in this was, yeah, September 96. I hadn't realized, wasn't reading the labels a whole lot, that Neil had joined them at some point in the proceedings and at this point. And so he's part of this production as well. So, this is a really fun track, which, Green Nuns are great at doing. And Dick just said, he loves it because it's just got all the Green Nuns elements, which it does. There's maybe, sort of some of the cross-hatching, upper climbing stuff that they used to do, sort of like really, really pushing the limits stuff is maybe not as strongly present, but I think there's tons of brilliant, brilliant stuff. I love the harmonic and melodic content. There's a really cool little accent here that I'll be pointing out. And it's just, this wonderful combination of musical beauty and fun. I think some of the fun has left our scene. We have a little bit of, I don't know. I mean, people are clearly having fun on the dance floor, but I think this used to be a little bit more carnival-like and just a little bit more off the wall. And I think this track does it. It's still got the musical grounding. It's still really sensible, and beautiful, and the sounds are polished. But, this is what I always loved about Green and stuff. It's a little wild and wacky, but always beautiful. So why don't we give this a listen? Green Nuns of the Revolution, their final track together, Green Nunions. So it starts off right away, right, with that the whooshes, right, which is very Green Nuns, right, Ring of Fire and all of that, and this cool figuration that's in there, and then another round. Just all these great sounds, right? Everything in 8-bar sections, right? So really gets you in the rhythm. And then kick should be coming in. There we go. Really clean and clear. Great. And then just this wonderful, joyful, exuberant bounce. Notice that, at least on here, it's sounding like there's some cool left and right panning. Now, the thing that I want to point out, we have a lot of accenting on the third beat. And that's going to come in with the main figuration. 3, 1 and 2 and 3, 2 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3. So it's hitting on the third beat, which is not historically a strong beat. It's kind of the second strongest beat in a bar, but it just adds that cool little emphasis, and then there's that slide. Really playful and fun, but you know, it's a little cheeky, as most of the Green Nuns tracks are. And so, you know, you get these currents where, you know, these periods where you have some of the same stuff that's repeating, and then something else will change alongside. Beautiful. And you know, all of the engineering is, of course, really brilliantly done, so it's all crisply defined. Now some of the stuff is pulled back. Notice some of this really cool delays on there. That's cool. A little bit of some breakbeaty stuff. Only time they did that. Again, the articulations change now. A couple of cool little punctuating bits in the lower voices. Now it's just jumped up. So the voicing has changed for that main riff. So there's all kinds of, you know, you have that undercurrent, and then there's all kinds of fun little variations going on. This is a cool little shift in direction. Now it's continuing, so there isn't the break in it that there was in the first round. And those squelchy sounds. Back to our more pronounced rhythm. Then should be a call and answer. There we go. Again, these tracks just continue to surprise because it's not entirely predictable. So now this is that good old Green Nuns grind. And you know, better sound quality, right? Because they've improved their engineering over the years, right? So we can hear it's a little bit more robust in how it's voiced. So that kind of, you know, quasi-cyber guitar. got a real zappy quality to it. And there's that kind of insistence that a lot of their tracks can get as they're building up. Really cool delineation with some of the stuff that's got, you know, notes and then other, so that granular pitched stuff. Little semi-squealy things going on over there. This is that part that's got that real call and answer. Cool rhythmic break there. Now at this point it's like, how many times has this repeated? Where you get that little delay there, sort of as you're in this vortex. That was cool. And we're back to our accent on the third beat. So it's interesting because at this phase, right, it's not too frenetic. I mean, of course this is up, but right, it's not pushing and grinding as much as it was even earlier. But now we're getting some more of these voices coming back. All that synthesized squelchy stuff and that squealing up there. But really the way it's chopped up and dry, very voice-like. Is it wrapping up already? And there we go. Wow, what a beauty. Lots of fun stuff there, right? And what I really like is, you know, as I was naming, you know, you get those structures of 8 bars, and sometimes things repeat a little bit more mantra-like, and you kind of lose track, or there's like subtle variations, as we heard with some of the delays that started coming in, or new material gets introduced, but you have that, you know, regularity of something that's continuing. So it's not like I find nowadays we get so many things where you have these new sections where everything is new, and especially the breaks. And I find it just you lose the thread. There's no thread of continuity. And so there's less emotional investment and engagement, I think, in what's happening with the storyline. So here, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. And what I love as well is, you know, clearly their sound had evolved with their engineering. And also it wasn't just nonstop 303 grind, 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 right? You had those elements in there, but there was a longer and more, I think, robust sense of storyline and that harmonic, you know, the harmonic stuff and melodic elements. I mean, really intertwined here. Just really lovely. So yeah, it was really cool to see, you know, this footage of Ollie playing this. Now that we've heard the track, I'll play a little bit of that footage just with the audio, and it was clearly, you know, I mean, the camera had a pretty good mic, but clearly it was a pretty rockin' sound system. And what it is that you can really notice here, you know, from the whole footage and all these good old shoulder shimmy with how it is that he danced and his like one step kind of thing, is people dancing around all over in every direction, right? So there was no front just like, when you really think about us being in outer space, there's no up or down. And so there was no front to the space. People are moving around, they're dancing really freely. There's no one style of dancing. And again, it's not this kind of militaristic, everybody's facing sort of the leader at the front of the stage, right? So he's almost like it seems like the DJ's off to the side because if there's no front, it's all side or it's all not really anything. So let's just check out a little bit of that footage. What can you say? I think it's great that to have some of this footage. I am, as much as I wish we had more of some, certain events. I think there is something that makes it quite special that, not every event was filmed and that you really had to be there. And, there's just a glimmer of that magic that really comes through in the electricity. But, life is in the living of it. And it's not just from looking at things on our various screens, it's from being immersed in the three-dimensional physical space and multi-dimensional, you know, energetic and sonic space of these events where all of the fun and the richness happens. So, on that energetic and literal note, which, I don't know what note of the keyboard it is, I will sign off and let you hear the entire track without my commentary. I'm Mark, DJ Solitaire, wrapping up episode 150 of Retro Goa Explorations and leaving you now with the final track by the legendary Green Nuns of the Revolution, Green Nunions.